Okay, first let me show you how each part is used in the system. The first part is the square clamp which goes on a railing, and the screws on top are tightened with a screwdriver. This is the beginning of the frame that will hold the elbows and the other parts and pieces. First, what we want to do is measure the length of the rail. We want to put a frame about every 3 to 4 feet. So we'll divide it up evenly so it's as close as we can get to that. And that's where we're going to mark, and that's where we're going to install our square rail clamps. Now that we've marked the spacing, we chose 4 feet on this particular boat. Now we're going to install our square rail clamps on those marks and tighten the screws. The next thing we're going to do is install the couplings on top of the square rail clamp with the screws facing either forward and aft or slightly in, just so they don't interfere with the cover when it's installed. Into the coupling, we're going to install the 60-degree rigid elbow, and we're going to tighten the 2 screws. The next step is to install the straight tubings and form the bow for the frame. So what we're going to do is install them in the couplings. And basically find center of these 2. Take an elbow and we're going to mark it right in the center. Slide it in, keep the screws facing down, and we're going to tighten those up. This is our first bow completed. We'll continue this process as we move down the length of the boat. Each one will be exactly the same. They'll all be the same height. The ridge pole goes above the ribs, right up here. And we're going to hold this in place with a cover clamp. Cover clamp goes over the top of the ridge pole, clamps on like so. Slide it forward. The rubber is going to go between the 2. Swivel it around, and then we're going to tighten the nut. We're going to install a flex elbow. That's this flexible elbow. And we're going to install this on the square rail clamp. The next step is to install the straight piece of tubing into the flex coupling, and what we're going to do is lay it out so that we come on the same angle as this bend. And we may have to move this back slightly. That's why we left those clamps loose. There we go. Now we have the perfect bend, right? It's parallel. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mark this, and then we're going to cut it off. Now that we've cut our tubing, we're going to install it into the flex coupling, put a coupling on top, and connect it to the ridge pole. We're going to install our vertical supports. We've measured them to the top of the ridge pole, and we've cut them off. And we want to install our rubber tip on the bottom to protect the deck. The next step is to install the vertical support. The rubber is between the vertical support and the ridge pole, and then we're going to tighten the nut. This is an extremely strong frame. I'm 185 pounds, and it'll hold me with no problem at all.